What's up, and welcome back. I'm John Stark from ActTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And today, I'm going to talk about Sebastian. This is a film that is being floated around for consideration. I found it with audio description because it was submitted without, but I knew it had audio description, so the screener was useless, but thank you. Life. Um, so this movie is about Max, who is an aspiring author who has an affinity for Bret Easton Ellis and he already has written some short stories and he's looking at trying to get his first novel published. And he wants to write about sex workers. And we find out that he is one and that his sex worker name is Sebastian. He's a gay sex worker. He works for men for money. That's what sex work is. I don't know why I explained that, but just going to connect all the dots. And he's not really telling his potential publisher that he's, doing the actual work for research and how that sort of reflects on his life. And there's a little bit of a hint of his mom wouldn't like the fact that he's gay, so he can't really come out. So really, this whole experience is kind of allowing him to explore his sexuality, but he's also, it's like a double life, right? There's Max, the author, there's Sebastian, the gay sex worker, and those two worlds most likely are going to collide by the end of the film because that's how films work. I was always expecting them to collide. Actually, there's a scene towards the beginning of the film where he's trying to arrange something with somebody and they're like, do you have a face pick? And I was like, oh God, this is not going to be good. I didn't even know which direction the film was going to take. I was like, this could be like a horror movie. I have no idea, and there was like some hesitation and then he sent the face pick of himself. I was like, ooh, somebody has your face out there in the world. How do you feel about that? So he there's a lot of sex in here, actually. There's a lot of gay sex, which was refreshing. This is I might have more than queer. I don't know. Queer didn't come with audio description, so it's debating between this and queer for like maybe the most uh, gay sex of the year in a film. Um, but if not, it has to be a close second. I haven't seen another title. National Anthem doesn't come close to this. I'm trying to think of like other LGBT films that I think this probably has. He has sex a lot in this film, like multiple times. And he even sort of develops a relationship with one of his clients, sort of develops feelings for one of his clients. All of this is, and then his sex life becomes interfering with his writing life in various ways. And he has an opportunity to interview Bret Easton Ellis. And obviously, he draws a lot of inspiration from him. Uh, Things go south, but then they go up because white privilege. Anyway, we can always fail upwards. We'll be fine. Just, um, so I can understand Sebastian would want me to consider it because I'm a member of Galika, the Gay and Lesbian Entertainment Journalists Association, LGBTQ Film Journalists Organization. So the group most likely to vote for Sebastian. Hello. Uh, yeah. On one hand, I want to like it, but on the other hand, he's a very frustrating lead. This is a directorial debut, so I don't want to be too hard because I didn't think it was awful. But man, like the fact that he feels like he needs to live the life, and I kept expecting them to make this connection between him and Bret Easton, right? The fact that Max, he's so obsessed with Bret Easton Ellis, and Max feels like he has to like live this life of a sex worker in order to write about it. Um, does he think that Brett lived American Psycho? Like, I I'm so confused. Um, it's like with method acting. I guess he's like the method actor of writing. You know, he feels like he has to live the experience in order to write about it. And it's like, or the guy that you admire so much just kind of writes about things. Maybe that's also a possibility. So he's a very frustrating lead that reminds you of all the mistakes that the youth make in the world. But he's also sort of being positioned as being, you know, this bright voice for the future. But I didn't ever feel like he was. And I don't know. He goes in this pretty sort of predictable downward spiral, but then it predictably rebounds. So I didn't think there was really anything that mind blowing about it, Sebastian. The acting it is fine. Um, the thing I'll remember the most in it is the high amount of sex and the frequency of it and the sort of the longevity of the scenes. Um, and it also the fact that this film exists also reflects sort of on this archaic mentality that Max has about about being recognized. You know what I'm saying? Like about having to hide this part of himself. It's very weird because it's like the so he admires Bret Easton Ellis, but he's clearly created this double life for himself. The filmmaker has chosen to show us uh, a really like we're diving all the way in here, and in a way that we wouldn't have or would have gotten certainly an NC-17 rating. Um, you know, 20, 30 years ago, easily, if ever even allowed in theaters. You know, I mean, when you think about the fact that Midnight Cowboy was given X, I just. So the fact that Sebastian is able to be where it is now in 2024 and Max is still where he is, but also wants to write about this thing. I don't think anything ever really fully came together. I think there were a lot of thoughts and ideas, but I don't think anybody ever asked, like, took a step back and went, "What is it that we are trying to say here? Like, what is the actual messaging?" Because the messaging here seems to be just like everything works out in the end. Ta-da! Which is why I made the joke about white privilege. Everything just we just fail upwards. It's just good to go. Even when it looks like we've made all of the wrong decisions in our life, there's still an opportunity for us to to get right back in the game. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Sebastian. The audio description was pretty solid. I like the fact that it wasn't not everything was thrusting. I hate when sex scenes just result to thrusting. Um, and It could have done more. Obviously, I've heard some far more graphic and interesting ways of describing sex scenes, but it was decent audio description. So, would I recommend Sebastian? I don't know. You know, I'm sort of in the middle on it. It's not bad enough for me to go, oh no, don't see that. But it's also not good enough to be like, oh my God, rush out and see it. Sort of in that period where I'm like, I'm not going to stop you. If you feel like you want to see it, see it. Um, and if not, that's okay too. You know, I don't think your life will be changed either way. Um, but at the end of the day, I would lean slightly positive because if the acting was good. I thought everybody just kind of showed up and did a nice job. So even though the film, I'm sort of just there are pros and cons that sort of clash and balance themselves out into this sort of neutral puddle where I'm just like, well, I there are things I like and things I don't like, and evens out. I think the acting is probably the thing that maybe gives it that slight edge. So I'm gonna give Sebastian a C plus. But yeah, I think it probably wants higher. This was at Sundance, by the way. I'm just now finally getting around to it. So Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side.